Welcome to part 2 of our 3-part series, Plastic Pollution, Its Consequences for Rivers and Oceans. In part 1, we learned about how plastic pollution has become a global issue of increasing concern. On today's program, we continue our exploration as we travel to Africa to visit the magnificent River Nile. This 6,650 kilometre long waterway runs through 11 countries on the African continent, and an estimated 250 million people rely on it for drinking water, household use, and irrigation. In June 2020, the British free-to-air television news channel Sky News aired a remarkable documentary called The Plastic Nile. Hosted by Emmy and BAFTA award-winning journalist and special correspondent Ms. Alex Crawford, the film revealed the extent of plastic pollution all along the river.
This is the majestic Nile, the world's longest river, crucial to the survival of millions of people.
The Nile is basically a life source for them.
But now the river's existence is threatened like never before.
Everywhere you walk, it's all plastic.
We follow the polluted waters from the river's source. For the first time, we reveal the full extent of plastic pollution across 5 countries.
Ms. Crawford and her team began their investigation at Lake Victoria in Kenya, Africa's largest lake and the second largest freshwater lake in the world. Lake Victoria is also the source of the White Nile River, one of the Nile's 2 main tributaries. At Lake Victoria, the team discovered plastic waste everywhere. Within the lake was an entire island of plastic garbage, including tubs, containers, cutlery, bags, water bottles, every kind of plastic imaginable. And all along the shores they found plastic, hiding among the rushes or caught on the water vegetation. Plastic pollution is a serious problem in Africa. While the continent's population has grown quickly, infrastructure has not kept pace. In numerous cities along the Nile, waste management is minimal, plastic recycling is non-existent, and trash is simply thrown into open municipal dumping grounds. When the heavy rain comes, much of this waste is washed into the River Nile.
All of this, or large parts of it, could end up getting
washed out
straight down.
And see how it's poisoning the fish in the water.
That's plastic in the middle of nowhere.
Along the shores of the Nile, the plastic waste is also a danger to domestic animals who often inadvertently ingest plastic as they graze on pastures covered with trash. In Gondar, Ethiopia, a local veterinarian opened the stomach of a 12-month-old calf and discovered several plastic bags and even a plastic headband inside.
Oh, that is quite a big bit of plastic as well.
We'll take a moment now to pray for the well-being of our magnificent and precious planet. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Welcome back as we continue our exploration of plastic pollution along the River Nile. Tributaries and irrigation channels leading to the Nile are clogged with all types of plastic: water bottles, bags, cups, and countless other items. Canals are frequently used as dumping grounds for garbage. What's the effect of all this plastic pollution on fish? In Cairo, Egypt, Dr. Farhan Khan, a research scientist from Roskilde University in Denmark, analyzed the two types of fish most frequently found near Cairo, the Nile tilapia and catfish. Dr. Khan's results revealed that more than 75% of the fish contained microplastics.
Fish in the Nile have no choice but to eat plastic.
Dr. Khan was deeply concerned about his findings. This amount of microplastics in the fish could stunt their growth and also affect their ability to reproduce. In addition, pollutants and pesticides in the water bind to microplastics. Thus, the fish could be toxic to those who consume them. The pollution in the Nile has become an international issue. Every year, the River Nile dumps an estimated 18,000 tons of plastic waste into the Mediterranean Sea. It is truly a wake-up call for the world.
And we urge the international community to take immediate action before it's too late.
If we don't do anything to save the Nile is going to die.
Juba, the capital of South Sudan, lies on the banks of the White Nile. Like many cities in Africa, it has only a rudimentary waste management system and no facilities for recycling. Many residents are concerned about the proliferation of plastic waste in the area, especially when they see how it washes into their precious River Nile.
So when you throw plastics all over the place, they don't get decomposed. They are persistent pollutants. And if this continues for the next 5 to 10 years, then it's going to be a tragedy for the country.
There was a time when there was no plastic at all in the Nile Basin. We have lived without it for millennia. Now, why do we hate plastic? It is not easily biodegradable. It doesn't break down easily. If you put it there, it might take 100 or 1,000 years. Even if it breaks down, fish might eat it, it gets into the food cycle and we will end up eating it, poisoning ourselves. There are many elements in plastic that cause cancer. But why do we need this plastic? For frivolous purpose, for carrying water. But we used to carry water in clay pots, which are natural soil products.
African governments have been taking action to halt further plastic pollution. For example, South Sudan has already taken an important step.
But also with the lack of recycling plants, all these plastics are being littered. In the end, they find themselves in streams, our main streams in Juba. And during the rainy season, all these plastic bottles are washed into the river, causing a lot of pollution of our River Nile. And you know that the River Nile is very important, and we have the largest wetlands in Africa, which is the Sud. So the government in 2015 came up with a ministerial order banning the use and importation of plastic bags in the country. And now it is forbidden for anyone to be using plastic bags in the country.
Kenya also banned the use of plastic bags in 2017, imposing a fine of up to $40,000 for anyone producing, selling, or even just carrying a plastic bag. Ethiopia and Uganda have followed suit with similar bans. Supreme Master Ching Hai has often warned about the detrimental impact of plastic pollution on humans, animals, and the environment. She also reminds us that plastic water bottles are not good for our health.
Thành ra uống nước mà nó có trong mấy cái chai plastic nó cũng không tốt gì lắm đâu. Nó có những cái particle từ cái plastic nó ra đó. Có những cái thành phần của cái chai cao su á, nó trộn trong nước mình á, mình không có thấy được nhưng mà nó cũng có một chút thành phần trong đó. Uống hoài những cái đó, có chai nước hoặc là chai đồ nước ngọt, nước gì mà bằng plastic á, lâu ngày cái máu mình nó đầy những cái thành phần. Thì如果你们用那些塑胶的话，就尽量把它重复使用。哎呀，不然的话，一直丢呢，它跑到海啊，跑到河那边去。Nó vô trong đất mấy ngàn năm nó cũng còn đó, vô trong nước mấy ngàn năm cũng còn đó. Nó có thể nát nậm ra nhưng mà nó không tiêu hết được. Rồi những con vật đó, nó ăn vô nó chết. Cá hay là chim á, nhiều khi nó chết nó nằm đó, thấy cái thân thể còn xương không mà bụng như đây là chừng những cái bình, những cái thứ mà cao su nó bể trong bụng đó, nó chết là bởi vì vậy đó. Nó tưởng đồ ăn đó, nhiều khi nó mổ rồi nó nuốt lẹ đó, đói quá rồi mổ nuốt lẹ, không có đồ ăn đó, nuốt lẹ đầy trong bụng, đầy những những cái chai cao su, bình cao su mà nát nằm đó. Thành ra nó chết vì những cái đó.
We're deeply grateful to Supreme Master Ching Hai for reminding us about the need to protect our precious earth through our daily actions.